Hello all, I am Danyamol Anthony. The title of the talk is on subgraph complementation to H-free graphs. This is a joint work with J. Gurchar, Sagarthanupal, R.B. Sandeep, Saknik Sen and R. Subhashini. We start with graph modification problems. In graph modification problem, given a graph G, the task is to find whether there exists a set of modifications applying which on G results in a graph that belongs to a class script G of graphs. The most studied modifications are vertex deletion, edge completion, and edge editing. In these types of graph modification problems, the size of the set of modifications is bounded by an additional integer input. For example, in case of cluster editing problem, given a graph G and an integer k, the task is to find whether there exists at most k edge additions and deletions, applying which on G results in a cluster graph, that is a P3 free graph. In this work, we deal with a graph modification known as subgraph complementation, which was introduced by Kaminsky et al. In subgraph complementation problem, given a graph G, the task is to check whether there exists a subset S of vertices in G such that complementing the subgraph induced by S in G results in a graph that belongs to a class script G of graphs. That is, the adjacency of a pair of vertices UV in G is flipped only when both U and V are in S. The resultant graph is known as a subgraph complement of G and is denoted by GO plus S. Unlike the vertex or edge modification problems, the operation is allowed only once. That is, we can apply the complementation only once, but there is no restriction on the size of the set S. Consider an example, subgraph complement to triangle-free graphs. Here consider this graph G and the question is, does there exist a subset of vertices S in this graph G such that GO plus S is triangle free? Now consider the set of vertices V, C, E and F and taking the complement of the subgraph induced by this set of vertices results with this graph and it is triangle free. Why graph modification problems? Because it is a natural class of algorithmic graph problems and many well-known problems can be restated as a graph modification problem. For example, vertex cover problem can be restated as a vertex deletion problem. In this work, we focus on subgraph complementation problems for script G being H-free graphs. That is, given a graph G, the task is to check whether there exists a subset of vertices S in G such that GO plus S is H-free. Consider the hereditary properties of graphs. A class script G of graphs is hereditary if for every graph G belongs to script G, every induced subgraph of G is also in script G. Or equivalently, we can say that every hereditary class of graphs can be characterized by a set script H of forbidden induced subgraphs. So graph modification problem with target graph class H-free is like script H contains only one graph. So studying subgraph complementation to H-free graphs can be considered as the first step towards understanding the complexity of this problem for hereditary properties. Recently, Fomin et al. Started the systematic algorithmic study of this problem and proved that subgraph complement to script G is solvable in polynomial time when script G is a class of triangle-free graphs, D-degenerate graphs, graphs having bounded click width and expressible in monadic second-order logic or split graphs. They also proved that subgraph complement to regular graphs is NP complete. Now, our objective is to investigate the complexity of subgraph complement to H-free graphs for H being a complete graph, a star, a path, or a cycle. And we have this result. We obtain complete polynomial time or NP complete dichotomies for subgraph complement to H-free graphs for 4 classes of H, a complete graph, a star, a path, or a cycle, and their complement classes except for a few cases. Consider the first result. We proved that SC to KT free graphs, where KT is a complete graph on T vertices, is solvable in polynomial time for any fixed T greater than or equal to 1. This result is applicable even when script G is a subclass of KT free graphs recognizable in polynomial time. For example, the class of T minus 2 degenerate graphs. Then we proved that SC to K1T free graphs is NP complete for every T greater than or equal to 5. Leaving behind only 2 unresolved cases, K13 and K14. Next, we proved that SC to PT free graphs is NP complete for every T greater than or equal to 7, leaving behind only 2 unresolved cases, P5 and P6. Then we proved that SC to CT free graphs, where CT is a cyclone T vertices is NP complete for every T greater than or equal to 8, leaving behind 4 unresolved cases C4, C5, C6 and C7. We also proved that these hard problems do not admit any sub-exponential time algorithms, assuming the exponential time hypothesis. We also proved that a graph G is a S instance of SC to script G if and only if G complement is a S instance of SC to script G complement, where script G complement is the set of complements of graphs in script G. This result implies that SC to script G can be solved in polynomial time if and only if SC to script G complement can be solved in polynomial time. Thus, it resolves an open question by Fomin et al. And it also implies that SC to H free graphs is polynomially equivalent to SC to H complement free graphs. Thus, all the results we have obtained in this work is also applicable to the H complement free graphs also. Now move to our first result. Consider a graph property pi h. A graph G has the property pi h, then there exists a set of vertices S in G such that G of plus S is H free. Thus, the class of graphs satisfying pi h is the set of all S instances of SC to H free graphs, and we have this result. For a graph H, the property pi h is non-trivial if and only if H has at least 2 vertices. A property is non-trivial, then it is true for infinitely many graphs and it is false for infinitely many other graphs. And we proved that property pi h is non-trivial. This result guarantees that the pursuit of obtaining optimal complexities of SC to H free graphs is meaningful for all non-trivial graphs H. Now, how the subgraph complement of a graph G related to a subgraph complement of G complement with respect to the same subset S of vertices of the graphs. And we have this result. Let G be a graph and S be the subset of vertices of G. Then G O plus S is equivalent to G complement O plus S all complement, where G complement is the complement of graph G. Now consider a class script G of graphs. Script G complement denote the class of complements of graphs in script G. Script G1 denote the class of graphs where each graph in it can be subgraph complemented to a graph in script G. Script G1 complement denote the class of complements of graphs in script G1, and script G complement 1 denote the class of graphs where each graph in it can be subgraph complemented to a graph in script G complement. And we have this result. For a class script G of graphs, script G1 complement is equivalent to script G complement 1. We proved this result using this first lemma, and using this result we have this corollary. For a class script G of graphs, script G1 can be recognized in polynomial time if and only if script G complement 1 can be recognized in polynomial time. In particular, SC to H free graphs is polynomial time solvable if and only if SC to H complement free graphs is polynomial time solvable. The first sentence of this corollary was an open question and we have resolved that. Now consider PQ split graphs. For positive integers P and Q, a graph G is a PQ split graph if its vertices can be partitioned into two sets P and Q such that the clique number of GP is at most P and the independence number of GQ is at most Q. That is, GP is KP plus 1 free and the GQ is Q plus 1 K1 free, where KP plus 1 is a complete graph on P plus 1 vertices. Clearly, a split graph is a 1-1 split graph, and every partition of the form PQ will be called a PQ split partition of the PQ split graph. Colai and Panolan proved that there is a polynomial time algorithm which recognizes a PQ split graph and gives a PQ split partition of the same. They also proved that two distinct PQ partitions of a PQ split graph cannot differ too much. This helps us to enumerate all PQ split partitions of a PQ split graph in polynomial time by giving one of them. Thus, using this result, we have this corollary. For any fixed constants P greater than or equal to 1 and Q greater than or equal to 1, there is an algorithm which takes a graph G as an input, runs in polynomial time, and decides whether G is a PQ split graph. Furthermore, if G is a PQ split graph, then the algorithm outputs all PQ split partitions of G. We used this result in our polynomial time algorithm for SC to KT free graphs, where KT is a complete graph on T vertices. And we have this theorem. For any fixed T t greater than or equal to 1. Let SQUID-G be a subclass of KT-free graph such that there is a recognition algorithm for SQUID-G running in polynomial time. Then SC2 SQUID-G can be solved in polynomial time. To obtain this result, we generalize the technique used for SC2 triangle-free graphs by Fomin et al. Now consider this graph G, and which is a S instance of SC2 KT-free graphs. Then there is a solution S such that GO plus S is KT-free graph. Now consider two vertices U and V, which is present in solution S, and partition the vertices of G into 8 sets based on the solution S and the two vertices UV. Here the bold lines represents the adjacency of the vertices U and V with the other vertices of the graph. Thus, SUV is the set of vertices which are adjacent to both U and V and present in the solution S. TUV is the set of vertices which are adjacent to both U and V and not present in solution S. Similarly, SU complement V is the set of vertices which are non-adjacent to U and adjacent to V and present in the solution S. Similarly, other sets are defined as shown here. Now consider this shaded partition. This is the set of vertices which are adjacent to both U and V, and we proved that this partition form a PQ split graph where P equal to Q equal to T minus 1. Now consider this shaded green region. It is a set of vertices present in the solution, and if it contains an independent set of size T, then after complementation it becomes a KT, that is a complete graph on T vertices. So it should be free from an independent set of size T. Now consider the set TUV. If it contains a KT, after complementation, it will be retained. So this partition should form a T minus 1 split graph. Similarly, consider these three partitions also, and we proved that these three partitions also forms PQ split graph with P equal to Q equal to T minus 1. Now our aim is to find the solution set S, and for each of these four sets, the solution S contains exactly the set Q of some PQ split partition, PQ of the corresponding induced subgraph. Thus, the algorithm boils down to recognize a PQ split graph and enumerate all PQ split partitions of them in polynomial time. Now consider a D-degenerate graph. A D-degenerate graph is an undirected graph in which every subgraph has a vertex of degree at most D. For a graph G, the degeneracy of G is the smallest value of D for which it is D-degenerate. And we know that graphs of bounded degeneracy have bounded Clique number and can be recognized in polynomial time. So D-degenerate graphs are KD plus 2 free graphs. Thus, the result for SC2 KT free graph implies that SC2 D-degenerate graphs can be solved in polynomial time. Thus, this result subsumes two main results by Fomin and his co-authors in this paper. That is, SC2 triangle-free graphs and SC2 D-degenerate graphs are solvable in polynomial time. Now consider our hardness result. We proved that SC2 H-free graphs is NP complete for H being a star with at least 6 vertices, or a path with at least 7 vertices, or a cycle with at least 8 vertices. All these problems are trivially NP, so we move to our hardness result. Now, we proved that these hard problems do not admit any sub-exponential time algorithm, assuming exponential time hypothesis. Because of the exponential time hypothesis along with the sparsification lemma, we know that three-side problem cannot be solved in sub-exponential time. So to prove that a graph problem does not admit a sub-exponential time algorithm, we can have two ways. We can give a polynomial time reduction from a three-side formula such that the resultant graph has only order of n plus m vertices, where n is the number of variables and m is the number of clauses of the formula. Or we can give a reduction from another graph problem which also does not admit a sub-exponential time algorithm such that the resultant instance has only order of n vertices, where n is the number of vertices in the input graph. That is, these two reductions should be linear reduction. A linear reduction means the size of the output instance should be linear in terms of the size of the input instance. In this work, we have used two types of reductions. For base cases, we give reductions from variants of KSAT problem. And for the inductive step, we give reductions from problems of the same kind. And we will consider this reduction soon. And both these reductions are linear reductions. Thus, we proved that these problems do not admit any sub-exponential time algorithm. And it gives us the optimal complexity of these problems, as these problems can be trivially solved in time 2 power order of size of the graph, because selecting any subset of vertices and checking whether it is a solution or not gives the solution, gives the optimal solution. Now move to our next result, SC2 K1T free graphs, where K1T denotes a star graph with T+1 vertices. For example, a K15 is as shown figure. And we have this theorem. Let T greater than or equal to 5 be any integer, then SC2 K1T free graphs is NP complete. Further, the problem cannot be solved in sub-exponential time unless ETH fails. For this, we have first used an inductive reduction for SC2 K1T free graphs, and we have this lemma. Let script G prime and script G be the classes of K1T free graphs and K1T+1 free graphs respectively for any T greater than or equal to 2. If SC2 script G prime is NP complete, then so is SC2 script G. Further, if SC2 script G prime cannot be solved in sub-exponential time, then so is SC2 script G. Now consider the inductive reduction. A graph G prime is the input to the construction, and a new graph G is obtained from G prime as, for every vertex U in G prime, introduce T+2 vertices, which forms a KT plus 2, and out of this T+2 vertices, T+1 vertices are adjacent to U and one vertex is non-adjacent to U. For example, if T equal to 4, a K6 is introduced, which is represented using this set WU, and out of these 6 vertices, K5 is adjacent to U and one vertex is non-adjacent to U. And this resultant graph is G with the T+2 into N plus N vertices. So it is a linear reduction. If the graph G prime contains a K1T, then taking one vertex from this newly introduced set forms a K1T+1 in G. And we proved that G prime is a S instance of SC2 K1T free graphs if and only if G is a S instance of SC2 K1T+1 free graphs. Now to prove the base case for SC2 K1T free graphs, we have this theorem. SC2 K15 free graphs is NP complete. Further, the problem cannot be solved in sub-exponential time, assuming the ETH. For this, we have used a reduction from 4SAT greater than or equal to 2 problem to SC2 K15 free graphs. Here, 4SAT greater than or equal to 2 problem is given a Boolean formula 5 with n variables and m clauses in conjunctive normal form, where each clause contains exactly 4 literals of distinct variables. Find whether there exists a satisfying assignment for 5 with at least 2 true literals per clause. Now we used a construction for this reduction. Here, a 4SAT formula 5 with n variables and m clauses is the input to the construction. For example, consider this formula, and a new graph G is constructed like, for each variable xi in phi, introduce 2 vertices ui and ui prime corresponding to the positive and negative literals, and both are adjacent to each one as shown here. Now introduce 4 sets of vertices ui1, ui2, ui3 and ui4 of 5 vertices each, and each of which forms a K5. Now ui1, the set ui1 is adjacent to the vertices ui and ui prime, and the sets ui2, ui3 and ui4 as shown figure. Now for each clause ci of the formula, introduce a set vi of 5 vertices, each of which induces a K5 as shown here. Now all the vertices of each vi together form a big clique denoted by v prime of size 5m. Now every vertex in vi is adjacent to the corresponding literal vertices. For example, consider the clause C1. The corresponding set V1 is adjacent to the corresponding literal vertices U1, U2, U3 and U4. Similarly, consider the clause C2. The corresponding set B2 is adjacent to the corresponding literal vertices U1 prime, U2 prime, U3 prime and U5. Thus, this is the resultant graph G. It contains a total of 22 n plus 5m vertices, so it is a linear reduction. Now, a K15 is created by a vertex from the set Vi along with the 4 literal vertices corresponding to this set and 1 vertex from this big clique. And if the formula is satisfiable by assigning at least two literals per clause is true, then putting the corresponding literal vertices into the solution and taking the subgraph complement results with a K15 free graph. Similarly, if the graph is K15 free after subgraph complementation, then assigning true value to the literals corresponding to the literal vertices in the solution makes the graph makes the formula satisfiable. For example, consider this formula. The literals x1, x2, x3 complement and x5 are assigned to true. Thus, this formula is satisfiable because at least 2 literals per clause is true. Now, putting the corresponding literal vertices into the solution and taking the complement of this set of vertices results with this graph, and it is a K15 free because at least 2 literal vertices corresponding to a K15 is in the solution. Now, whenever a K5 is introduced in the construction, the objective is to forbid the solution to have all the vertices of that K5. For example, consider this set, it forms a K5, and if all the vertices of this K5 is in the solution, then these vertices along with the vertex adjacent to them but not in S forms a K15 in Geo plus S. Similarly, consider this set along with the vertex non-adjacent to them, that is like this, and but in solution form a K15 in Geo plus S. Thus, it makes sure that both Ui and Ui prime cannot be in S together. If both of them are in S together, then these two vertices along with one vertex taken from each of these hanging sets form a K15. For every Ci, at least 2 literal vertices corresponding to the literals in Ci must be in S. Otherwise, a K15 is introduced where a central vertex is from the vertex from this set Vi. Thus, we obtain that SC2 K1T free graphs is NP complete for every t greater than or equal to 5. When t equal to 1, that means h equal to K2, the problem can be solved trivially because G is a S instance of SC2 K2 free graphs if and only if G is a disjoint union of clique and isolated vertices. Here, the clique portion forms the solution set, and this class of graphs can be recognized in polynomial time. When t equal to 2, that means h equal to P3, the problem admits a polynomial time algorithm because of the result of Fomin et al. Thus, the only remaining cases to be solved among the star graphs are K13 and K14. Now move to our next result, SC2 PT free graphs. And we have this theorem, let t greater than or equal to 7 be any integer, then SC2 PT free graphs is NP complete. Further, the problem cannot be solved in sub-exponential time unless the ETH fails. For this, we have used the reductions that we have similar to that we have used for the SC2 K1T free graphs. From the literature, it is known that the problem can be solved in polynomial time for all t less than or equal to 4. Thus, the only remaining cases to be solved among the paths are P5 and P6. Now move to our last result, SC2 CT free graphs. Here we have this theorem, let t greater than or equal to 8 be any integer, then SC2 CT free graphs is NP complete. Further, the problem cannot be solved in sub-exponential time unless the ETH fails. To proving this theorem, we used the similar types of reductions that we have used for SC2 K1T free graphs. We also know that the problem can be solved in polynomial time for all t less than or equal to 3. Thus, the only remaining unknown cases are C4, C5, C6, and C7. Now, for the future work, the most interesting question is, for any graph H, obtain a complete polynomial time or NP complete dichotomy on SC2 H free graphs. And this type of dichotomies are available for other graph modification problems like vertex deletion problem. It will be interesting to investigate the complexity of SC2 H free graphs when H is the following graphs, because these are the only remaining cases to be solved among this class of graphs. And it is better to investigate the complexity of SC2 script H free graphs when script H contains more than one graph. Thank you.